Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to come and listen to me today. Really excited to be here and tell you about what Aruma's been up to, the work that we've been doing, and where we plan on going. So, big thank you to Stu and the Vertical Events team for putting this on as well. Really enables us, junior resource companies from Western Australia to come and show the people here what it is that we really do best, which is explore for ore bodies. So that's our usual exclaimer for an ASX listed company. Corporate snapshot. I really like this slide. It shows you that we haven't got a lot of shares on issue. There's only 157 million shares. We've got a good cash balance at the moment, 2.7. So we're well funded to move forward and explore. One of the things that does set Aruma apart a little bit in the West Australia junior resource sector is that R&D claim that we make. Over the 12 years of Aruma's existence, we've managed to get back $5.5 million. And in fact, in December last year, we had another $830,000 come back. So that's government money that returns back into our bank account, and we get to spend our money 1.4 times, and we spend it wisely into the ground. So our projects, you can see there, all in Western Australia. It is a really great place to work. The infrastructure we have just enables us to move forward and do the work as quickly as possible. Up to the north in the Pilbara, we've got gold and rare earth projects at Melrose and Saltwater. If you move down a bit further to the south of the state, we've got our Yilgarn gold projects. So my geos certainly like working on these projects. Nice, diverse projects that keep them excited and interested. But last year we added lithium into the mix, and that really got us noticed. So in total we've got about 1,400 square kilometres of tenure across Western Australia, and last year we drilled nearly 14,000 metres of RC. So we do spend the money in the ground quite well. So what sets us apart? It is that R&D claim that we have a model that we do work towards. We go and look for ground that fits our geological model, but it's not just that, it is ground that's really underexplored or hasn't been looked at all. Examples there, Mount Deans, tantalum-rich pegmatites outcropping, but were never sampled for lithium. Saltwater, some old local Indigenous friends up there were finding gold nuggets in the creek, but hadn't been drilled. And at Salmon Gums, it was always mapped incorrectly. It was mapped as not part of the Yilgarn, it was mapped as something else, and had essentially not been explored. I'll go into these three projects further on, and highlight why I think that Aruma is a great investment. So the first one's Mount Deans, and it's actually a little bit similar to the mineralogy that the previous presentation had. The good thing about Mount Deans, it's just south of Norseman. It's 200 kilometres from the deep sea port of Esperance, right on the highway. Infrastructure's fantastic. But as I said, the pegmatites were known, they outcrop. But the question was always, what's the lithium grades? And as you can see, the grades were quite good, up to 2% lithium oxide in some of the drilling. But along with the lithium, there is a whole other suite of elements that will all add value. And you can see there we've got really high-grade rubidium, but we've also got cesium, we've got niobium, tantalum, tin, and potassium. And I guess we're starting to go down the process now of understanding the metallurgy and what it would look like, and we think that we can really add value out of all these additional elements. It is the lithium that is the target commodity, and is what has got us all excited, but it is these other metals, which a lot of them are future facing, that are certainly can add value to the mix. So one of the interesting things about the Mount Deans pegmatites, the lithium, is lepidolite. So commonly in West Australia, what gets mined and what gets explored for is spodumene. But what's happened in Western Australia is our Chinese friends have come in really early to projects that look to have spodumene and have signed up with offtake agreements. So what it means is everyone else who's coming in following has to go and look for another source of lithium. And Aruma is actually a fair way down that path within Western Australia, and we're getting contacted a fair bit from other overseas interested parties right now. So as you can see from that flow sheet, simple froth flotation will extract a lot of the elements there, the cesium, potassium, rubidium, lithium and niobium. And then another extra step of a gravity separation will get the tin and tantalum out. And all these add exceptional value. So I'll move on another 80 kilometres down the road from Norseman is salmon gums. Really underexplored part of Western Australia. So as you can see on that slide there, I'm not sure if I've got a pointer, but the top fault, the Kundalini fault, that was always mapped as the southernmost extension of the Yilgarn greenstones. In Western Australia, the Yilgarn greenstones is what hosts a lot of the tier 1 ore bodies further north, Super Pit as an example. So this area was really underexplored. A couple of years ago, a company called Pantoro was success in exploring south of that Kundalini fault at Scotia. They're currently mining their ore body there with their 500,000 ounce reserves and upwards of 2 million ounces of resource. And we followed the stratigraphy south to salmon gums, which was vacant, and we pegged it based on the fact that we thought we had it fit our geological model, and it was really underexplored. So we went in last year and did some drilling, really successfully. Had grades 4 metres at 4 at the bottom of the hole, but 5 metres at 50 was the standout. And if you followed the junior gold scene last year, it didn't seem to matter how good a drill hole you announced. Your share price really didn't move too much. So that didn't get a lot of attention last year. We've gone in now, we're currently drilling at these two prospects, Thistle and Iris currently. We've got a 6,000 metre RC program that we're currently doing. So we'll have some news flow in the near term. But one of the key things that the drilling last year showed us is that when we pegged the ground, we thought we were dealing with quite a narrow greenstone belt down there. We thought it was about 800 metres wide. We've got 26 kilometres of strike, so we thought we were dealing with a target area of about 15 square K. But the drilling last year showed us that it's not 800 metres wide, it's probably greater than 3.5 kilometres wide. So we've gone from a 15 square K target to a 75 square K target. And when we've had really early success really quickly with the 5 at 50, the potential for salmon gums could be huge. So we are a future-facing commodities conference, but I had to tell you about salmon gums. So then if we move to the north of the state, up in the Pilbara, I've got two projects up there. Melrose is a gold project, Saltwater is the gold and rare earths project. That slide shows you the Nanjalgardi fault, which is a major controlling structure of gold mineralisation in the area. If you followed the resource scene recently, there's been some really big discoveries up in the Pilbara. De Grey's 10 million ounce Molina deposit, but just along the Nanjalgardi fault, there's a good 5 million ounce corridor. So the potential for a discovery, a greenfields camp discovery is quite large. But if I zoom into Saltwater, the potential becomes apparent. So 400 square kilometres of tenure there, really remote. We pegged it because that's the saltwater target there. An old friend had been finding nuggets in the creeks, so we went in there with our gold model. Research showed us that at Sirius and Levanto 10 or 12 years ago, looking for uranium, some really high-grade rare earth samples were taken. More recently, our friends at Dreadnought have pegged all around us. They did some sampling last year, come up with some really nice gold samples, so that monster numbers there were from them, but they also had some really nice rare earth values come out. So we're really excited about this as a rare earth play, but there's also, as you can see, 3% copper in some samples. One of the things I like about monster is when you're getting 3% antimony, you know you're in a big system for gold and other metals. So that's really exciting. I was up there in December driving around. We went to this Sirius and Levanto areas to have a look at what the rocks actually were. And what we found was it was a black manganese ironstone rock. The day before, we'd been going to the saltwater to look for the gold, and what we found was also this black manganese ironstone rock. The following day, we drove to Nobby's and we're driving around there. This black manganese ironstone rock was evident there as well. Come back to Perth and plot it all up, and all these prospects sit very close to a major unconformity there, which is the Bresnahan group above the Wailu group, which on that map there sort of is represented by close to that red line. Of that red line, we've got about 80 kilometres of strike on our tenements that we're going to go and prospect for. So the upside's huge here. So we're going with an unconformity model for the mineralisation, which it does fit the rare earths, but it also fits the gold and base metals model, which is the hydrothermal solutions, getting metals out of the sedimentary pile. It gets trapped by the unconformity above. It finds something to react with and deposit. So that's our model that we're going looking for. And I've got a couple of pictures here just to show you the sort of area we're dealing with. That picture there is 160 kilometres from Paraburdoo, but amazingly you get perfect phone reception. So the unique treats you get working in Western Australia. That there is an erosional surface. If then it got changed into a depositional surface, that surface there would become an unconformity. So that gives you an idea of the geology we're looking for. And that's the kind of reasons you love exploring in the Pilbara. There's some pretty spectacular countryside. So saltwater's a bit of a unicorn, I think. The potential is phenomenal. So I'll wrap it up there, but the highlights, I think the important take-homes for you as potential investors is our metrics. We've got a strong cash balance, so our exploration projects are well funded, which leads into drilling. We have real news flow. We're out there identifying targets. We're doing what exploration companies should do, which is coming up with targets and then testing them. We've been successful. So Mount Deans has been progressing really nicely. Salmon Gums has been successful, and we're certainly going to have a good crack at saltwater. New MD appointed, so I come on earlier this year, and I'm certainly excited by Aruma's projects. I'm a geologist. I've been around for a long time. I've seen some pretty good projects, and I'm really excited by what we have with Aruma. We've got some in-house expertise, so the R&D and the geology model is a way of thinking a little bit outside the box, and that's certainly paying dividends. We're picking ground that has untapped potential. And we spend our money 1.4 times, so we certainly get our value there. So that's all I've got to talk about with Aruma, so thank you for spending the time listening to me. You know, you often say that to invest in a junior explorer, you've got to be a bit of a gambler. Well, I think we look pretty good. So please come and talk to me at my booth. I'm at booth 70, and I'd like to have a chat. So last thing I'd like to leave you with is Aruma. So what Aruma means, it's Aboriginal, which means happy. So come and invest in us. So thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I think it's a good time.